Yo, what's up, guys? We're live. We're doing another recap, and we're going to do an early preview of this Abu Dhabi card, which I actually think is a pretty cool card, man. I'm definitely intrigued by the main event. It's one of the best fights I think the UFC could offer. So, definitely excited to break this card down, talk about UFC 304. So, what's up, Fitz? What are you thinking about this Abu Dhabi card?
It's good. It's actually my birthday Saturday, so I'm excited. I mean, it's crazy. Um, it's really good card, man. Tony Ferguson's fighting. Little silly to me how the co-main event is Shara Bullet over all the other great fights on the card. Especially versus Figueiredo, which is probably the fight I'm looking forward to most. The main event too is great. Getting to see these guys 5 rounds, game plan each other. For like over a year now. I think it's going to be a really crazy fight, and yeah. I'm
Yeah, man,
excited. It
for
was a good
sure.
birthday gift.
Yeah, Jan said, "Bully B, remember the name? Yeah, we'll get to that. He did, way better than I thought." And then Mika, happy early B day, Fitz. I didn't even know it. So, when's your actual birthday, bro?
Saturday, Saturday.
Saturday, yeah. So hell yeah, dude. And then let's get it. Tristan said happy birthday, but yeah, man. So let's get into this card a little bit. You said you weren't around to watch that first fight, Shonda versus Elise Ardeline, and honestly, I mean, probably you're probably better off not having seen it. I mean, it was a horrible fight, dude. I feel like the play, like where I said banned by sub, wasn't horrible because the first round, man, she really should have subbed her. Like she had her in like so many positions where if she was a little better, she would have finished the fight, but ended up just being a really sloppy fight where Bannon got the win. So I don't know. No interest in really seeing her fight again, either of these girls, but they're definitely gonna get other fights. Obviously, I know Bannon and Belbito were like talking shit on Twitter, so I guess they could fight. But yeah, I mean that was
Did
kind
you
of is
think the
what it is.
decision went the right way? I mean, I seen a split
Yeah,
decision.
yeah. I
If
thought
Bannon
Bannon
deserved it,
won. Yeah, I mean she definitely won the third round. Like she dominated the third, and that was like her best round. And I thought she won the first. So I kind of thought the split was kind of weird, but either way, it wasn't like impressive from Bannon. It wasn't like she like was levels above or whatever. So Ardeline, honestly, like if you're looking at it from like that perspective, I guess like her coming in short notice, she was probably like the more impressive fighter, I guess if you want to say, you know what I mean. But did you see this next fight, McParkin versus Bresky?
yeah, I got the replays at least of this one. It ended pretty quick, but good performance from Mick Parkin. Bresky's someone who I'm just not too impressed with. I didn't think Mick would get the finish. I thought it would be a decision, and it put him away. Pretty quick. But getting that work with Tom Aspinall, so.
Yeah, Mick. I mean, good on him. I really don't know how far he's gonna go. This fight didn't really show anything, right? It was basically just he steamrolled the guy in the first round. So Bresky maybe has like one fight left on his contract, but his UFC career is probably coming to an end, and Parkin, we'll see how far he goes. But yeah, I'm glad they had that fight early on the card, because that could have been like one of those weird fights where they put it like in the prelims main event or some bullshit, But Sam Patterson versus Kiefer, I feel like this was a good read by everyone, man. I mean, I feel like almost everyone this week was on Patterson. Thought he would get the submission early. Um, and it's pretty much how it went. I mean, Crosby wasn't that competitive in the fight, and Patterson looks good. I mean, I think he still has a lot more to prove, but at 170, he's ran through two guys, so I think he's going to get a step up. And I mean, what do you think about Patterson? How far do you think he really can go in the division potentially?
I think he's decent. I don't think he's like a top prospect or anything. I'm not really too high on Kiefer Crosby. I said it. I don't think he's UFC level. But for sure, Patterson made the right decision moving up to welterweight. For his career, I think it's definitely paying off, and we're gonna see where it takes it. He definitely still has more to prove to me, though. This win that doesn't seal too much, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was good in the fact that like he showed good fight IQ. He did what he had to do. He could have went in there and made it like a sloppy striking fight, but took the guy down and subbed him quick and kind of showed that he was levels above him. So, what about Crosby? I mean, he came over from Bellator. He already had like quite a few fights. He's older. I mean, would you let him, have another couple fights, fight out his contract, or you're just cutting him at this point?
No, I let him fight out the contract, but I mean, I'd be pretty surprised if he gets a win. In the UFC, he'd have to be matched up with someone pretty low level.
Yeah, it would just have to be like a straight up like killer be killer bank fest, him and someone else,
Mm,
which I guess it would be fun to watch. But next fight, this is a horrible fight too, man. I mean, Modestas Bukauskas versus Prochnio. I feel like Prochnio should have won this fight, man. I mean, I don't know what the fuck he was doing. Like he hurt him in the third round, and it's like I thought he won. I can't remember exactly like which round he won, the first or the second, but I thought he won one of those two. He like dropped him or whatever with the high kick. And then the third, he like blitzed him early and hurts him, and then tries to take him down, ends up on bottom, and then gets choked out. And neither of these guys know how to like fucking roll, man. I mean, Bukowski's like, I don't know, he could have finished that so much easier, so much faster, and Prochnio was just quitting. So I mean, Prochnio went for it. He almost got him out of there, and then I don't know, but yeah, I wasn't impressed by either of these guys really. But yeah, what did you think about it?
yeah, I knew this would be a pretty shitty fight. As far as in terms of trying to pick a side, you could have been confident in Mudeskis, but it could have easily went the other way. I stayed away. Both these guys are low level light heavyweights. Marcin, I said, at one point was probably like the worst fighter in UFC history, at the start of his career. So, still has turned it around a little, but, I didn't have, too high expectations for this fight or either of these guys, but I think they'll both, stick around for a little.
Yeah, I mean, what did you think about the fight IQ for Prochnio though? Like where it was like, I don't know. To me, he should have won that fight if he just, you know, had a better game plan. But
Yeah, but did he engage in the grappling? What do you mean in round three
yeah,
after he
in
hurt him? I don't remember.
so the third round he like blitzed him right in the beginning of the round, and like had him like really hurt, and then he like clinched him and tried to like body lock him and got like reversed and taken down, and then he just quit after that. So it was like I don't know, but this was dumb decision making. But this next fight, Oban Elliott versus Preston Parsons. You could talk first about this one. I thought it was a pretty impressive performance by Elliott. Good fight overall, but decision win for Oban Elliott in this one.
Yeah, I was on Parsons here, so this one hurt. I think you did a really good job in the breakdown. You talked about Elliott's grappling, his back takes, and you literally saw it play out like that. He was able to get the back, so that's a great read on you. Um, on the feet, it was pretty close, but Oban really surprised me with the grappling. I thought Preston would definitely have an advantage there, but didn't pan out that way. And Oban, I think, is definitely a decent fighter for the welterweight division.
Yeah, honestly, I agree. I mean, I feel like I actually did think Parsons would have the better wrestling, which I was surprised that Elliott like clearly was the better wrestler, at least in terms of MMA wrestling, because he shut down all the shots. He was the only one that really got takedowns or control. So yeah, I think Elliott's improving, man. I feel like he's one of these guys that he could be one of these guys that's like a dark horse casher for like a betting as an underdog because he's someone that I think people see holes in, and he definitely has them, but he's tough, and you have to really get him out of there. He's gonna have the cardio. He's gonna have obviously the dude's super strong for the division, so he has some good intangibles, and I think that he could get some upsets, potentially. So someone to keep your eye on. But I think Parsons is he could still win some fights too. I mean, he just had a hard one there. I mean, I don't think many guys are going to be able to shut down his takedowns as good as Elliott did. I mean, what do you think about Parson? Do you think he'll be back too?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's decent, but I definitely thought, like you said, the wrestling was a little better. I kind of rated that as the best part of his game with the cardio. So if that's not there, he's going to have to round out some other points of the game, sharpen up the striking or really just, become, a dog, someone who breaks the guys with their pace. But yeah, the stock has definitely been lowered after that performance.
Yeah, and talking about lowered stock, I mean, this next fight we're going to talk about Muhammad Makayev and Manel Cave. I mean, fuck, man. I mean, this was the definition of Nick Diaz. He should be on the card that we're about to talk about. Unfortunately, he's not. But these guys are both selling wolf tickets. I mean, I don't know. I guess they did way more damage in the street to each other than they did in the actual fight. But I guess there was more craziness that came out after the fight than during the fight. But just total fucking dud, man. I mean, um, both these guys, they talked it up, and I mean, how many security guards were in the fucking cage before the fight started? It's pretty crazy. But man, I mean, it just didn't end up. Nothing happened in the fight. I mean, I guess you could say that I thought Mikhaev did win. I mean, what do you think about that? Because I know there's a lot of people that think Manel Cape won. I mean, who do you think even won the decision, even though the fight
I mean,
really isn't
Mikhaev,
much
I
talked
get
about?
one. I mean, if Dana White in the past has says about Ian Gary and MVP that if any fight should be a draw because no one did anyone, it was that one. I mean, that round one was probably the
Yeah.
worst round I've ever seen, and
I thought Manel
you know
clearly he had to have won that round though, the
I
first.
thought
Manel
so
just in the
too,
last 10
but
seconds, he was the only one that did shit.
it was, oh my
But
god, what a terrible round that was. I mean, in general, the fight was bad. I don't hate him for selling it. I mean, I'm sure there was real animosity there. It just, Mikhaev is a very boring fighter. And Cop too is, he has knockout power, so he has that finishing upside, but he's a low volume striker. So we can't really be too surprised here. But would have liked Mikhaev to have a lot more success. Um,
yeah, it was close. I like bet Cape. Yeah, I mean, I think either guy could have won. Honestly, it's like, and you easily could have taken a point from Makayev too for like some of the bullshit he was doing during the fight. Like he literally like pulled that fool's pants down. But I mean, let's talk about what everyone's talking about right now with hear what Dana White had to say, and then kind of react
Yeah,
to
that's what we tell guys. We
everything.
tell guys how to fight and tell them what we've been doing this for a long fucking time. I'm sure one of the matchmakers probably said something to him or whatever, but yeah, the matchmakers aren't big fans of his for many different reasons, and not just take. There's a lot of people who shoot takedowns in this business. A lot of guys that fight with that type of style, but it's a lot more than just that.
But Makayev is the guy that you'd want to bring back to the UFC because he said his contract is totally done now.
Yeah, he is. He's under contract. He's not under contract anymore.
Okay. But would you be interested in keeping him around in the fall?
I think the PFL is going to get a great undefeated guy.
Really.
Good luck to him. Yeah.
What about Manel?
Yeah, that's what we tell guys.
the craziest part is the PFL doesn't have flyweights. There's no
Well, you know what I
flyweight
heard,
division.
And shout out to Ben Davis. I literally just watched this video like a few hours ago, but so he said that he heard from somebody that basically, like, I don't know if it was like which fight he was doing it, but like when he still had like multiple fights left on his contract, Makayev was like contacting PFL, asking him basically like, how much would you offer me like if I was a free agent, trying to like leverage whatever. Like let's say PFL gave him like a big number, so I guess UFC like found that out, and that's partially why Dana White said that shit. Like PFL is gonna get a whatever undefeated guy. So I think that's partially what it was. Like basically like he was trying to negotiate while he was still under contract or see like what his worth was on top of like having a shit style and then all the other issues. And I mean, I don't think he has like he doesn't have a lot of support, man. I mean, if you go online, it's not like people are mad that he got cut. So I mean, I feel like he has a long road ahead of him. I mean, I don't know if even PFL is gonna sign him. I mean, I don't think he doesn't bring any like if he's on a fight card, I don't think he brings many eyeballs, even though he has like a great resume and everything. Yeah, what do you think about it? Like, would you have cut him? And then like everything that he did too, like where apparently hear how like the way that he kind of drew in Mikel to kind of drop him with the picture or whatever. I'm talking. So I don't know, but
I mean, I just don't know as far as like the behind the things scenes how that is. Like apparently he's real tough to work with, and stuff like that. Like you said, trying to leverage his contract. As far as a fighter goes, I want to see him in the UFC. I think he's one of the highest level guys at flyweight, especially being so young. And maybe this time off will help him grow as a fighter in person, and he'll come back better. But even as someone everyone hates, eyeballs are still there to hate on him, to watch him lose. So I think he should just play up the heel role, play up the villain, and I would have liked to see him stay in the UFC. He's a top 5 guy.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just don't think he would have beat Pantoja either way. I mean, maybe he could have, but I feel like UFC just they didn't think he was worth the headache, man. I mean, and I guess he's a big issue. So he might come back. You know, he's only 23 years old or whatever. So maybe he'll come back and rejoin the UFC. But Manel, I think that was like a huge loss for Manel Cape because he's kind of older, and this was like a huge fight. Like if he won this fight, he definitely would have been in a title fight next. You know, so
Yeah.
I don't know what's next for Manel either. I feel like he kind of really dropped the ball too. So yeah, kind of a really shitty fight, and we'll see what Makayev does next. I mean, I have no clue. It's like 125 men. They're harsh with these guys, though. I mean, they're definitely like Nate Maness, man. I like Nate Maness. I like his style, and he like put out some tweets saying that they told him like they didn't renew his contract because he's not an entertaining fighter. It's like he gets he gets knockouts, man. The guy's fun to watch. I don't know. Hopefully, you know, everyone on Twitter, like, try to get Nate Maness a new contract, man. I feel like he should be back in UFC, but yeah, apparently he's not entertaining either. So I don't know what you need. I guess 125, it's like at heavyweight you could be Andre Arlovsky, but 125 you have to be like Charles Johnson or some shit. I don't know, but yeah, man. This next fight, Jake Hadley, Colin Loughran. I like this fight, man. I mean, I had a good bet on Hadley. He was like plus 210. I thought it was a pretty easy win for him. I mean, first round, clearly Hadley won. I thought the third round he clearly won. It was like Loughran had a lot of pressure, but he was super stiff and just kept getting clipped and didn't really do much. I mean, I guess he landed some big shots, but I thought that Hadley clearly won. I mean, the second round was closer. And but yeah, Hadley saved his job, man. I think that was the last fight on his contract. Hopefully he gets to get a new UFC contract, you know, come back at 35 and see how far he could go. I still don't really think has like a high ceiling at 35. It's like just too hard of a division, but that was a pretty big time win. I mean, 1 week coming in, taking out Loughran, who's a pretty decent fighter. So shout out to Hadley and Loughran. I mean, 2 out of 3 losses in the UFC. So definitely his next fight he has to win. He's probably going to get cut. So he's still a prospect, but it's just he just hasn't looked good in his fights. So I mean, what did you think? I think you said you thought that Loughran won. So
Yeah, I was on the train coming home though, so the connection was kind of going in and out. But I was hoping for it. You had the great call on Hadley. You know, I originally early in the week was picking Hadley, but ended up flipping over the other way. Took Callan by decision. Didn't work out that good, and yeah, it was a great read. You know, Hadley apparently staying up at 135. Like you said, I don't know how well he'll fare against the top of this division, you know, or even get into like that top, 30. You know, it's all killers at bantamweight. It's sharks, you know.
yeah. So, but yeah, shout out to Hadley. He got the job done, and yeah, man. Thanks everyone in the chat. Hopefully, you guys cash too. But this next one, I mean, another one, man, plus 280 on Bruna Brazil, and this one there was no controversy at all here. I mean, just destroyed her. It wasn't even close. I wasn't expecting that. I mean, Brazil came out in the first round and hurt her to the body. I mean, maybe that made a difference in how McCann fought like the rest of the fight, but she was just too athletic, too fast. She stayed on the outside, was timing her, and then out grappled her pretty easily too. So Brazil, I think, is definitely someone to watch, man. I think that she's athletic and she has a good skill set. It's just she, you know, she'll make mistakes, but I think she's going to keep getting better. I feel like she could be ranked, you know, eventually for McCann. I don't know. I mean, she got to the rankings at 25. I think 25 is a lot easier weight class than 115. But it's like how many? I guess you could keep bringing her out for fun fights, but I don't really know what's left for McCann in the UFC. You know, besides that. So, but yeah, good win for Bruna and just dominant victory for him. Man, I mean, the line was obviously way off. So, what did you think about Brazil's performance? And you know, do you kind of rate her differently going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Molly was a sure win, and you know, you called it. You know, great call. You know, the game plan clearly was put into place by the MMA nerds, like you pointed out, and you know, she was just so much better at range than Molly, and you know, she hurt her bad to the body, like you said, and this was a poor performance from Molly. Would have liked to see her do a lot more, you know, in England. I think she'll definitely still stay around, you know, mostly fighting in the UK, you know, just save her for the prelims of that card. And Bruna Brazil, we'll see what she does in 115, but this was, you know, a great win for as far as her career trajectory goes?
Nah, bro, I haven't. But yeah, Molly. I mean, I don't know. I feel like that was a huge loss for her career, though. I don't know what she's gonna do
Exactly.
next,
Yeah.
but they'll give her another like few fights, I guess. But yeah, next one, Nathaniel Wood versus Pineda. I mean, fuck. I mean, Pineda showed why he's still at the UFC, even though he got his ass kicked again. I mean, this guy is just like straight up dog, man. I mean, he didn't get
I
taken out of
can't
there
believe he
even.
get finished, dude. I had
Yeah, I
Wood by
mean,
knockout. I thought for sure in the second round it was done.
he was so close
Respect to
to finish
Pineda.
him,
This
and
one
man, I
hurt.
mean, talking about he got beat up so bad the second round, he came back and he won the third round. Clearly, like he like dominated the third. So I mean, Pineda's just he's still a beast, even though he's I don't know if he's like that level in UFC because like he probably gets paid a decent amount. They're gonna give him these harder fights. It's like I don't know how many he could win, but he's I thought that could have even been potentially a draw, man. I mean, the first round was close where I think Wood dropped him, right? And then he got reversed, mounted, and was like elbowed for like the last 3 minutes of the round. And then Pineda won the third. So it's like the second was a 10-8. I thought it could have been a draw, but Wood got the win. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a great fight, though. I mean, this was probably like one of the best fights of the night. So, what did you think
I
about the
agree.
scorecards? Like, did you agree with me? Like, do you think it was a lot closer than kind of the scorecards indicated?
Not really, because I thought Wood won the first round. With the damage done, and the second round was a clear dominant round. But Pineda bounced back, had a great end to the fight. So you got to respect that. Wood impressed me here. Was doing good with the striking. I said before I'm not sold on him at featherweight, but this was him against a big dangerous veteran, and he looked great. He's very skillful, high MMA IQ when he's in there. Um, Hopefully the gas tank's not an issue, going forward. Something you got to keep an eye on, dropping the third round like that. But yeah, I really like this fight. It got the energy flowing, and I was really hyped going into the main card.
Yeah, I will say though, I mean, one thing I still like once again in this fight with Wood, it's like when he gets put on his back at 145, he sucks. I mean, he can't do
Yeah,
anything off his back. So I still think he's too small for the weight, and he's not going to be able to like beat these better guys. But that was an awesome fight, and he got the job done again. So this next fight, Arnold Allen versus Giga. I'll let you go first on this one. I think we were all pretty confident on Allen, and he came through. So
yeah, I like the performance from Allen. I don't think it was the greatest fight in the world, but he stood there and struck with Giga pretty much for 15 minutes. And that's Giga's world. He's a world class kickboxer. So I think that says a lot about who Arnold Allen is as a fighter and his skill set. The pressure's nasty and the boxing is really really good. He was like the most confident pick of the night for me. And it was, I had the big parlay, Allen, Aspinall, and Edwards, and it was a great start to the parlay.
yeah, I mean, I thought the first round, I thought Giga clearly won. He looked really good in the first, man. I mean, he was kicking the shit out of Allen. Like his kicks were really nice, but he just totally gassed. It's like I feel like with his age and his style, it's like he's moving backwards so much. He's throwing all these hard ass punches, heavy kicks. It's like second and third round, he was just running the whole fight. So it's like Allen took the damage in the first, and even that round was close, but Giga showed out the first round, and then second and third, Allen just dominated. So I still think Allen, he has to work his way back up, man. I feel like this wasn't one of his best performances. You know what I mean? Like I feel like he's looked better before. So maybe give him another like easier fight. He hadn't won in a long time before this one. So, but I still think Allen's, gonna be, future top 10 for a long time. And Giga, I mean, what do you think about Giga? It's like you think he's getting towards the end of his UFC run here?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he can be a little more active, and I think that would serve him good. This is kind of like always who I thought Giga was, though. I never really rated him as high as some people. I would have never picked him in a fight against Arnold Allen, but I still think he's a exciting fighter. You can make really fun fights with him. But against any of that top 10, I don't think he wins, and maybe not even the top 15. But I still think he can go out there and anyone who's not up to par, he can get that first round knockout, which is why you got to keep him around.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I still think Giga's really entertaining. I mean, that was a good fight. It was just, I just don't know. Like, I feel at one point Giga was like someone that he was like one fight away from the title shot, and now he's probably, like you said, maybe not even could beat no one in the top 15. So he's in a weird position in his career. So, but this next fight, this is a great fight for Gregory Rodriguez, man. I mean, he went out there and just dominated the fight. I thought that it would be a lot more competitive than this, but I mean, Rodriguez just mixed it up. He beat him on the feet easily and just pressured him. And basically, that was the story of the whole card, man. I mean, a lot of these fights, like we just talked about the Allen versus Giga fight. Now, this fight, the main event, there was these guys that wanted to fight at range, like Be Pretty, and they just got walked down and beat up, man. So, Gregory Rodriguez, this guy's impressive, man. His striking looks so good in this fight. I mean,
And he's
I feel like,
powerful, man. He was doing
yeah,
damage.
I feel like this guy, I mean, as long as he fights smart and he's been mixing in his grappling a lot more, like he got takedowns in this fight versus Tavares. So, yeah, man, I mean, he's looking legit. I definitely think he should get a top 15 opponent. And I'm curious to see if he could, make a run here. So, Gregory, I think, is looking like a beast. And CLD, I mean, that was a bad loss. Even though he's fighting a legit opponent, he just got dominated, man. I mean, he didn't really pull the trigger and got beat up pretty bad. So, I mean, obviously he's still talented, but that was a pretty big setback for him, I feel. I mean, this was like a big spot for him. They gave him a main card spot against a pretty high level guy, and he dropped the ball. So, what did you think about CLD? Because I know you were kind of confident of. Do you think he like kind of lost some stock for you, or are you still?
Oh yeah,
like him as a
definitely. I
prospect?
mean, I think he's decent. I still like his style. This was just a tough matchup, I feel, and Gregory had a great fight. You know what I mean? This was a great performance from Gregory, and I think the main factor is that he's finally mixing in the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu, and he's not going so crazy on the feet. Even when he had CLD hurt, he was not just going into slugfest and risking getting caught like we've seen a couple of times in the past where he got put out. So I really like this performance now, and this has been a couple of great performances in a row from Gregory, and like you said, he's got to be able to get that chance at the top 15. I still think the chin ultimately is a big question mark and is a big vulnerability. And, if you look at the top of the division, guys like Cannonier, Driscus, Izzy, they're going to put him to sleep if he works his way up there. But, yeah, I definitely think CLD's stock is lowered here, even though this was a, really tough test. He's not the level that I was hoping for, especially with how he looked on the feet. I knew he had that possibility to get that grappling exploited, but on the feet he really didn't impress me at all
Yeah,
in
I
this
mean, I
fight,
feel
at
like
least.
CLD, it's like at range he's super good, and then he can catch you with these elbows, but he doesn't seem comfortable in that boxing range, right? It's like he's like, I said it before the fight, but I still thought he would be able to catch him. But it's like he has all these weird reactions, like he's like turning his back and like all this like, I don't know. I don't know how far he's gonna last in the UFC, man. I feel like he might be one of these like busts, you know what I mean? But I guess we'll see. And this next fight, man, I got some questions about. This fight was fucking weird to me, man. I mean, Patty Pimblett. I mean, what the fuck was Bobby doing? He didn't even try to defend the triangle, bro. That shit honestly looks rigged, dude. Like, I'm not like Alex Jones or anything, but like, I don't know. I
I
mean,
mean, it's crazy because a lot of people think that Bobby's fight against what's his name was like a fake performance where he knocked him out in 10 seconds.
Dawson.
Yeah, a lot of people said Dawson took a dive in that fight, so maybe Green had to pay it back. But I mean, man, just I'm not going to get into that. 7 straight decisions, whatever it is. Patty's walkout. What a performance. I think Patty, should be getting a lot of credit for this. It's not an easy thing to submit Bobby Green, man. It hadn't been done in a long
But it
time.
was easy
And it was
that
a
night.
brutal submission. Brutal. I mean, it was
easy
nasty
that
how he
night to submit him though. Like, what the fuck was dude? Literally, he went for the takedown and he got in the guillotine. All he had to do was angle off and go to the other leg, dude. Like, he stayed there and waited for the guy to triangle him, and then didn't even try to defend it. I just like, what the fuck was he doing? Like, I have no idea, but I mean, maybe he just shit himself, like he got nervous. But besides that, it looked fucking like fake, dude. Like, but I mean, Patty got it done pretty quick, so I guess he's gonna get a big fight, So I mean, this one we
Moicano,
didn't really
it's got to
see
be
anything.
Moicano. I think no matter what happens between Moicano and BSD, that's a good. That fucking lead up to that fight is gonna be epic with Moicano and Patty. The shit
Yeah, I mean,
talking.
dude,
Oh my
if
god.
he fought BSD though, I think that he would get fucking
No,
destroyed
but
by
I think you
BSD.
fight him. You fight him against Moicano either way. If Moicano wins,
Oh, I got
like
you. Yeah.
it's maybe Patty gets a title fight off that. If Moicano loses, he lost to a big fighter, and they're still gonna sell the fuck out of the fight. It's still
Yeah,
right
big
on the
call.
par. So I'm hyped
Yeah.
for that fight.
Yeah, I mean, whoever he gets next, it'll be a big fight because this is kind of like if you beat Bobby, you're gonna get like a big name. So, but this next fight, I mean, shout out to you. I don't know. I mean, I still like. I said like if Tom Aspinall was gonna win, he would look like -1,000, and that's what happened. Curtis Blades, man. I mean, is fucking the only guy that freezes up worse than Joe Biden. I guess like what the fuck, man. It's like all these fucking big fights. It's like the same shit every time, and he was doing good in the fight, man. It's like he fucking snaps his
Just
head back with the 1-2. Is like
that's what he
fucking
said. He
out.
got excited.
It's like, bro, you're
It was like
outlanding it.
Stipe versus Ngannou the second time. Stipe got a little, overzealous, and Aspinall will make you pay the price, just like
And honestly, I mean, I'm not trying to like sound salty or whatever, and you could like tell me what you think, which I don't think it would have changed the outcome of the fight. I just don't know if he would have got out of that position, but I don't think like he really was that hurt
Oh,
that
come
bad.
on.
Like
You don't think that's
well,
a
he got
good
hit with no, but listen, because he got hit with the
He's
jab.
flat on his back.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but the jab, like, go back and watch like that replay. Like, it wasn't like a big knockdown, like I think he was like he hit him hard or whatever, but it was like he kind of like came forward and hit him with the jab, and he like off balanced him. He wasn't that hurt because he tried to turn and get up really fast, and it's just like they're heavyweights, dude. They're slow as shit. So like Blades turned and tried to get up, and the dude just fucking full back mounted of it, like is heavy as fuck. And like you could tell Curtis wasn't that hurt, because if he was hurt that bad, dude, like off the jab, when he got flattened out like the first time or the second time he was getting hit, he just would have went limp or whatever. But he was still trying to get up. It's just he got fucking put in that position, quick as fuck, and couldn't recover, But it
The
is what it is.
referee saved Curtis's years off his life, years for his career. He's
It was
already been
still-
knocked out so brutally before. He did not need to be taking more damage.
I do think
Come
it
on.
was early. I do think it was early. I do, but it's like I don't. It's one of those stoppages.
Tom was
where it
going to kill him. We were going to
but
see a
listen,
death.
It's one of those stoppages where it was early, but I don't think it would have changed anything. It's like where it's like you're in a position and you could have let it go like another 20 seconds, but I don't think Curtis would have got out of it. But it's like I don't think like Curtis wasn't knocked out.
Another
cold.
20 seconds, Curtis would have been dead.
Bro,
If that
he
fight
wasn't
goes
even
on
out.
for
I mean, he was
if
still-
they don't stop
still
that fight from
punching.
where it was for 20 seconds more, he's dead. Tom beats him to death.
Listen, the only
He was
reason why I'm
flat
saying
on
was-
his back. How
what
could
I'm
it be
saying
an
it
early
was
stoppage?
he kept going. He kept getting back up to his knees. It's not like he just stayed flat on his back. He was trying to stand up, dude. You got a fucking guy that's 265
I mean,
pounds.
if the fighter
fucking
doesn't
pressuring
protest
you into
it,
the
how
fucking
can you
ground.
protest it? He didn't.
I'm not saying it was a horrible stop. Because I think Blades had the same inclination as me, where it's like this dude's heavy as fuck on my back. I'm not gonna get out from anywhere. But I just don't think like it wasn't like they could have let it go a little long. Like, dude, look at like Bobby Green versus Jalen Turner, and then look
That's
at
a
that.
terrible stoppage.
But they let
That's a
that
terrible
happen
argument.
next to-
Yeah, and it
100
was
more
terrible.
punches.
It was an outrage. That's
Yeah,
a
exactly.
terrible.
Curtis was fully conscious and trying to stand. That's what I'm saying. He wasn't just quitting in there. Like, he was still moving. If you get fucking dropped in 30 seconds and you got this fool on your back, dude, I mean, you're going to have to take some shots to try to get up. But, like, I agree. He got steamrolled, man. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, Aspinall, once again, it's like I got to, like, shout out to him. I mean, I can't talk shit, but it's like I still didn't learn anything from this fight. It's like he
I
finished
just
him in
hope we get to
60
see him fight
seconds.
Jones, dude.
So
I really do. You know, I,
yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
think it
hopefully it
happens, but
happens.
I hope so. I hope so. I mean, I would hope you're on Jones because I'll be on Aspinall, dude, and I think that
Yeah,
will be it.
I still would pick John, but it's like I just don't know. I mean that it's like I don't know how much of that to obviously Tom is the man. Like that was sick. It's like, but how much of that is Curtis? Like just do it, pull in another Curtis.
A
You know, I
classic
don't know.
Curtis.
It's like,
That's a classic Curtis Blades.
dude, that was like, bro, he was fucking doing. He literally was like, clearly. I don't want to say he was faster, but he was faster in the first 30 seconds. He landed like 3 or 4 1-2s on the guy, and like literally was clearly out striking him. And then he just tries to sit in the center and exchange with him. It's like you said. I guess he did say it right. He got excited or whatever. But that's just like an idiotic thing to do. Like that's the one thing that he couldn't do the whole fight, and he did it in the first. After landing like 3 punches, he got so excited that he did like the one thing he shouldn't do the whole fight. So, but Aspinall, man. I mean, this guy when you give him that opening, he's gonna take you out. So, he's like a Francis Ngannou level finisher, But yeah, I mean, he's gonna fight Stipe. I'm sure it's like, but
And then retire.
yeah, I don't know what he's gonna do after that. We'll see. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if he fought Tom because, like,
I think
why would?
He'd fight Alex before he fights Tom.
Well, the only
Why
reason
would
why
you fight Tom Aspinall if you're John Jones and get knocked out in the first round?
obviously he would think he's gonna win, but I'm just saying the only reason why I'm thinking that, like, if John fights again, it's like because why would you if John wasn't gonna fight Aspinall, why would you even keep the belt on John? Like, it's not like he needs the
That's what
title.
I'm saying. He shouldn't have the belt. He should have
Yeah, but
been
I'm saying
stripped.
like if John said like if you let me keep the belt, I'll beat Stipe and fight Tom. I mean, then that would be like a
But that's not what he's saying. He's
reasonable
saying he's going to
reason.
beat Stipe and retire. That's
Well, but I'm
always
saying
been
he
what he
could
said.
he could be saying that to like Dana, like
Why would
I
he be
mean,
saying that to Dana and not to
because
the
he could be
public?
fucking with Tom Aspinall, like mind games, like saying you're fucking like a little
Oh.
brother to me. You know, he's not gonna go out there and be like, "Oh, Tom looks amazing. I have to beat him. If I don't beat him, he's gonna be he's better than me." Like he's not gonna like, dude. He's gonna fucking like act like he's above him because at this point he is. But eventually, hopefully they fight. But I don't know. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe he really doesn't want to fight him. But even if he did, even if let's say he was telling Dana like behind the scenes like I want to fight Tom, I still think he would still be like fucking with Tom, like being like
Yeah.
nah, like I'm not gonna fight you because like what would be the point of bigging him up and being like oh yeah it's gonna be great, like that's what Tom should be doing. I mean he's like the guy that has to try to like push for the fight. I don't know. Does that make sense or you don't think so?
No, I mean, I just really don't think John Jones wants to fight him. You know?
Like at all, you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, John is the one saying that.
You're saying he doesn't want to even fight Stipe, or you're saying like
No. He wants to fight Stipe, and yeah, that's it. Maybe I think he comes back and fights Alex, and that would be it. Why would he fight Tom Aspinall? John Jones is he's made a
because
lot of bad
he could think
decisions,
it's
but
an easy fight
how could you think that's an easy fight?
because he's John Jones.
How?
John Jones probably thinks everybody in the world is an easy fight in his
There's
head.
no way you can.
Bro, he
That's
doesn't
just
even
not
train.
plausible.
The guy doesn't even train for
Um,
when he's fighting like the best guy in the world.
True.
He doesn't even train. He's like I don't even gotta train to beat this guy. That's how I'm not saying it's an easy fight like realistic. I'm just saying in his delusional head, he thinks it's an easy fight. He's like I'll just dominate this guy. Like I think Tom Aspinall thinks that too. I think Tom Aspinall thinks it'll be an easy fight. So I don't know. I mean, you don't think so? You think John in his head's thinking like, oh, Tom would knock me out in 30 seconds. He's never lost before, dude. I don't think he's thinking that really. I just think he's thinking like, whatever. What do I have to gain from it? It is dangerous, but I think he still thinks he's gonna win if it did happen.
Yeah, he'd have to think he's gonna win, but I mean, there's a reason he doesn't want to fight him.
Well, but if you're saying there's a reason he doesn't want to fight him, then you're like basically implying that you think he thinks he's gonna lose.
I mean, I think he thinks it's a very dangerous fight where he will not even lose, but get KO'd and have that for the rest of his life. Like, if he loses, it's going to be Aspinall knocking him out. And it's like, it's not going to be some decision win where he's outpointed by Tom Aspinall. He's going to get flatlined. So, for that to be John Jones to be untouched, and then for it to be out there that you just get flatlined, it's not a fun thought.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I really don't think you think he thinks he's never even been dropped before. I bet you he thinks he could take his shot, but I don't know if he could, but I don't know. Hopefully that does end up happening, but main event, let's talk about it. Belal Muhammad, Anu, he won the title. I mean, pretty shitty fight, man. It's like, I thought that was a horrible performance from Leon. It's like, he had no lateral movement in the fight. He just moved straight back to the cage. Belal looked good. I mean, his hands were fast, and he's able to mix it up, get the takedowns. And Leon, it's like, I don't know why he was standing on all fours like that. Like, he would like get up to his knees, and it's like you could stand up, like just explode and stand up. He's like standing on all fours, waiting for Belal to like take his back, and then Belal would take his back and control him for the whole round. So Belal kind of came in there with that approach, like where he didn't care about doing damage, which was smart though, because, instead of like trying to get in these different positions where maybe Leon could have got up, where you saw if Leon got on top, he was dangerous. Belal decided he's just going to take his back and just hug his back for 4 rounds and not like do any damage. So, but he dominated the fight and he won the striking. So, I don't know. I mean, it was definitely an easy win for him, and you got to shout him out. But I just thought it was a horrible performance from Leon. I don't know. I mean, what did you think about the fight?
Yeah, man. I mean, Belal's probably, for me, the worst male champion in the modern history of the UFC. I mean, you literally said it. Listen to the words you said. His game plan for a fight was to not do damage.
Yeah, well, it was
and that's our welterweight champion. Whose game plan for fights is not to do damage. I mean, and I'm not saying Leon was, some entertaining champion, because this was an all-time terrible performance from Leon. I mean, it was bad, man, especially the striking. Leon's only success was on the ground. In the striking, where he's supposed to, people had Leon as the best striker in the UFC, and Belal Muhammad was boxing him up. And like you said, he's just sitting against the fence, almost frozen. Like,
yeah, I don't know. It's like, even in the 5th round, like when he went for it, he was so sloppy. Like when he was throwing those like crazy, you know what I mean? Like in the start of the 5th, like the first couple minutes, he was like trying not to back up, but he was just throwing these wild ass strikes. Like, I don't know. I just thought he looked horrible the whole fight. But when he got on top, I mean, he did more damage in the fight. I'll say that, like, than Belal. But I don't know. I mean, at most, you could give him like 2 rounds at most. Like, and that giving him that 5th round is kind of generous, man. I mean, he got on top and like busted.
Yeah, whatever. Leon won 4 and 5. He got robbed at the end of the day.
I saw some people were saying that Leon won. It was like, if he would have won, that would have been a horrible decision to me. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Belal versus Shavkat and all these guys, you think it'll go down the same way? Like, it's like, I just don't know.
Shavkat's gonna either knock him out or submit him, I think.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know.
It's over. Shavkat's gonna end Belal's reign of terror, hopefully. But Belal might completely just fraud check Shavkat. And, what if Shavkat looked like off his back? I know he has some submissions, but, I'm saying I'm confident, but Belal might just dominate him, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're going to do Belal versus Kamaru, though. I think that'll be the next one. I think so, because it's like Belal versus Shavkat, dude. I mean, would you put that on the prelims or something? Like, where would you put?
No, I mean, you could co-main that. That's a good co-main.
On what? Like on a? I think so.
Come on, all right, then give it to Saudi Arabia for a fight night card.
Yeah,
Riyadh.
They could do something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking like, if you're doing like from a business perspective, Kamaru.
I mean, Belal versus anyone. Belal versus Kamaru is like the worst fight imaginable.
But I'm
It's
saying
like
that
the
would be a bigger, like, don't you think that would get more casuals?
I guess, man, but like Kamaru Usman is if you really he kind of turned it around with that Masvidal knockout and some of his performances, but for a lot of
Well,
time he was known as like the Bilal
yeah.
Muhammad, dude. He was
Kamaru had some good fights though. Like versus
like I said, he
Colby.
turned it
His fights
around,
with
and
Colby were good. He KO'd Gilbert. He KO'd fucking Masvidal. I mean, he had shitty fights like
but when he won the belt against Tyron,
before he was champ.
he was literally Bilal
Yeah,
Muhammad.
before he was champ, all his fights sucked. Like I don't know why, but
The
like
meal meat fight is like the worst fight of all
he
time.
wasn't entertaining. Like as the champion though, his fight most of them were entertaining. Like he had like a
Yeah, I
couple like
agree.
shitty fights, but I don't know. I mean, I definitely think he's more. He has power at least. Where he's gotten some KOs. Like Bilal has never dropped somebody in his career, so that's pretty crazy. I mean, he's never gotten a knockdown before, which I don't know. I don't know what you
That's our
think about,
welterweight champ. Yeah.
but yeah, it's like yeah. I think who do you think would win that fight though? I know you're kind of shitting on it, but him versus Kamaru, I think Kamaru would get the belt back, but maybe I'm off. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to think about it a little more. Chimaev, come on, dude. Chimaev will
Yeah,
die
I
trying
don't
to
think.
make welterweight
Yeah,
again.
he's not going to come back to 70. That was the only that was entertaining, I guess, when he got the slam. I mean, it's a cool picture, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Bilal did dominate. I mean, even on the feet, he rocked him. So it's like he did have like some moments, but yeah, I don't know. Let's get into this next fight card though, man. I actually like this fight card. The main event is like super high level, man. I mean, I don't know what do you think about the main event? Like, you think it's like a worthy fight for Umar? Or you think he kind of skipped the line a little bit?
I mean, how do you not want to bet Corey Sandhagen at plus 250? Like, Corey Sandhagen is so good, man. One of the best bantamweights, in my opinion. I know Umar, I mean, is a great prospect, but, I think Corey Sandhagen, man, is something else, in my opinion. And he doesn't have holes in the grappling like you'd think. I know he has that loss to Aljo where Aljo ran through him, but just go back to his last fight and look how good his wrestling is, because he broke his hand or broke his leg, whatever it was, and he had to turn to that. I'm gonna be picking Corey Sandhagen at the dog line. Umar might make me look stupid for fading him, but bro, his last fight, I understand, was a big, reasonable prospect, regional prospect, and was a name for those. But you go from fighting someone literally no one knows, outside of hardcore MMA fans, to Corey Sandhagen, one of the best fighters in the world. It's a huge step up.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. I mean, I love Corey. You love Corey. I think everyone loves Corey as a fighter, but I got Umar in this fight, man. I
Damn.
mean, I even looked into it because like I had the same like inclination as you, where I was kind of like, at this price, you got to go with Corey. And I still think it's a pass because you can't just fight like betting anyone at these odds versus Corey. But man, I mean, I just think it's a really hard fight for anyone. Umar, man. I mean, this guy he has like that Taekwondo style on the feet. I mean, his striking is really good. Like, and his defense is good. I know he got clipped in his last fight and dropped or whatever, but I thought that was kind of like, it was a weird
Fluky.
shot. It's like, yeah, I mean, but I just feel like he's gonna make it hard for Sandhagen to do much, man. You look at Sandhagen's last two fights, and I get you're saying like Hughes is wrestling versus Cheeto and versus Rob Font, but I feel like those guys are like they're kind of on the tail end. We're gonna talk about Cheeto. He just took a lot of damage his last fight, and Rob Font's obviously taking these losses. So I just think it's not. I think Umar easily could have done the same thing to those guys, but stylistically with this fight, it's like I think Sandhagen, what he should do is try to wrestle, first. Like, which I don't think a lot of people are going to agree with me on that. But you look at the stand up, I think it's going to be hard for him to really get off a lot on the feet. I mean, he might be able to use his jab and like some boxing, but Umar's timing on the takedowns are so good, man. Like, and if Corey ever overextends, he's going to be on his legs. So that's going to be Umar's whole game plan, I feel like, to like run away and try to time the takedown. So I think if Corey could surprise him and like actually that's going to be the story. He's able to out wrestle these other guys. If he can, scramble with Umar, and because I watched his fight with Saeed Kakramanov, Umar's, and Saeed took him down a couple times and was like doing decent in the grappling. So I feel like if Corey can do that, he could open the striking up and it could be a lot more competitive, but I just think Umar is going to out wrestle him, man. I mean, you watch Corey's fights, like where he fought actual decent wrestlers, like Aljo, obviously he got ran through, but even his fight with TJ Dillashaw, man, I mean, he lost that one and he gave his back up a lot in that fight. He got controlled a lot in that fight. That was like TJ's first fight in
Against TJ
years, too.
Dillashaw.
Yeah. But Umar is a better wrestler than TJ in MMA.
Bro, come on, dude. That's crazy.
Dude, TJ was coming back like off that fucking steroid thing. He hadn't fought for like 3 years. And he came back. His first fight was Corey, and he out wrestled him. I mean, that's not a great look to me. And then even if you look at like his fights way back, like Corey versus Rafael Sunsao, he got taken down multiple times in that fight. Corey, when he fought my boy, we talked about this guy last week. It's kind of weird bringing him up, but Yuri Alcantara, where he almost got
Submitted
subbed
him
in that
bad.
fight.
Oh yeah.
He almost got subbed in that fight though.
Bad,
I mean, Yuri,
yeah.
like had his arm like fully extended,
Yeah.
like where Corey's a gangster though, man. I mean, he didn't tap there.
And my
then
main thing is
he got put to sleep too versus Aljo with the choke, so he's not gonna tap, if you get him in a sub. So, but I get what you're saying. Like it's like anyone, you probably can justify betting Corey against anyone in the world with those odds, But
And my main thing is they've been scheduled to fight for so long now, and for me, like Corey is up there with anyone in terms of MMA IQ and knowledge of the game. He's up there with Dominic Cruz, anyone, John Jones. He has one of the best minds for the sports in the entire UFC, in my opinion. And I think giving him that long to game plan is Corey's on PFCs, and yeah, I mean you could say that against all these Dagestanis.
Well, but what do you? It's not like Corey. Corey, like in the font fight, it wasn't he broke his hand. He tore his tricep, dude, and that's why he's been out for the whole year. So it's like, I don't think that's great either. Like coming back.
He's probably just been running, dude, and he's just gonna be in the best shape of his life. What do you do when you can't? When you have an upper body injury, you just run.
He hasn't been wrestling.
Runs at altitude. Yeah, that's the big problem. Is Umar's wrestling?
Even
that's
on
what Corey's gonna have.
Going to be on the feet. It's going to be really close. I mean, because not like
Umar's a beast, dude.
If they had a kickboxing match, Corey would be like the better striker. But with the takedowns, it's going to make like Corey way more hesitant. That's why I think Corey needs to try to wrestle early. Because if he can like out wrestle him, then Umar might just try to strike with him the whole fight. You know what I mean? Like if he can take him down.
Corey needs to take over the fight. He's a 5-round experienced fighter. He needs to dominate from 3, 4, and 5. And
that's another factor too.
He has to make Umar work on the takedowns.
Because Umar he's never fought 5 rounds. So, but yeah, another big advantage I think is where the fight's at though. I mean,
that's of course.
Too.
We'll talk about it throughout this entire card. Especially I don't know, I'm gonna have to before Friday. I'll check, see how long Corey's been out there. Hopefully, like I said, though, Corey's a vet. He's doing all the right things to ensure he's getting the win. He's not gonna leave any stone unturned. I would be surprised. That's just not the type of fighter Sandhagen is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping Corey wins, but I don't know. I just think Umar's gonna get it done. But yeah, next fight, Davison Figueiredo versus Marlon. Man, this is another really awesome fight. I like Cheeto. I kind of wasn't an emotional pick, but I just felt like Cheeto could maybe break O'Malley, and that was a horrible prediction, man, because Sean just completely dominated him, and he took so much damage in that fight, which obviously that's his thing, but I don't know how much longer that's gonna last. One of these fights he's gonna get knocked out cold. I mean, we all kind of know that, so could be this one. It could be,
I really think maybe it's just impossible to knock him out. Like
but dude,
like
I mean,
the stuff Sean was landing on him was how he didn't get knocked out by O'Malley was pretty insane, dude.
I agree, but it's like before that fight he never got dropped, and then Sean did drop him. I don't know. It's just like he definitely I think
I
eventually
think
we'll see
Davidson's gonna wrestle here. To be honest,
Yeah, I
I think
agree
he's
with
gonna
you in this
grapple.
matchup, but it's like all these guys like that, like even like Tony, like he got knocked out. Fucking Frankie, like Cheeto ended up fucking knocking out Frankie. It's like a lot of these guys, it's like were
But
you
Tony had always been he
but he
got
never got finished though. He would always get dropped and then he would recover so fast and then he got KO'd out cold, like which even the fight with Gaethje, dude, like Tony took so much damage in that fight. That
so,
was
and it
fucking
wasn't even like a
that
clean
was
knockout. You know,
insane,
they
bro.
that
Yeah,
was
it's
another
like so.
crazy one.
It's like all these guys that when you rely on your chin like that, like it's just scary. I mean, maybe it never will happen, like, but I don't know. I just think it could happen eventually, And Davison has that power too, like where he can kind of like one punch a guy. I guess at 135 he hasn't shown it, but at 125 for sure he had that power. But yeah, I agree. I think Figueiredo is going to use that footwork and move around and kind of Marlon's going to be too plotty and then he's going to take him down. So I just think Davidson's going to get this job done by decision, but Cheeto could knock him out. I mean, Cheeto could knock out anyone, if he just finds that timing. And he's like one of those guys where it's like he's never out of the fight. He's had so many of these fights where he's losing the whole time and then he gets that finish like in the third or fourth, fifth. So, but this round's only a 3-round fight too. So I think that's a big factor. Like if it was 5 rounds, I think Cheeto would
Cheeto
be the
all
favorite.
day.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, we'll see. Figueiredo could gas and get stopped or something, but yeah, I'm curious to see what people think in the chat too, because like that's actually like a pretty interesting fight. So he said Figgy too small. I mean, I feel like Figueiredo kind of has shown that he can compete at 35 now. With he beat I guess Cody's a decent win, but not that great. But the Fa win was good. But yeah, this is like the big. If Figueiredo wins this fight, I think he could. I guess both these like whoever has like the best performance might like get the title shot next. Like these 4 guys. So it's like some big fights because if Figueiredo wins and O'Malley wins, and let's say Umar wins, I think they might set that up. Like Davison versus Sean.
I
'Cause I don't know.
agree. I think, and I
Yeah.
couldn't say if Davison wins here, dude, it would be 3 big wins in a row at bantamweight. He's a former champion at flyweight, moved up. It'd be hard to deny him a shot at the belt here.
Well, Cody, I mean, yeah, he did win 2 fights in a row before that fight with Figueiredo. So I mean, he had that. I
He's
guess
a former
Kelleher.
champ. At the end of
Kelleher
the
is
day,
such an easy win, though. It's like he KO'd Kelleher, and then he got that win over Trevin Jones. So it's like he beat 2 like whatever guys that aren't in the UFC. But yeah, he's not a great win in 2023 or whenever that was, but he's still, like you said, a former champ and a name. So, and that fight, like they had to get that one done. I feel like I remember on Fight Island they were like going back and forth and shit. So they'll give it to Umar before. I don't know. I feel like if I feel like Figueiredo might get it, but yeah, we'll see. I don't know. It'll be interesting, like who gets that title. I guess it depends. Like if Umar just goes out there and like lays on him for 3 rounds and wins like a boring decision, and Figueiredo has like a better win. I that's what I said. I think it has to do with performance, But don't really want to talk about this next fight. I mean, you can go first on this one. I mean, you have anything really to say about this fight?
bro. What's Chiesa's weakness? It's the Darce, man.
Yeah.
And he's fighting the
Darth
Darce Knight. Like,
Yeah,
this is Tony by Darce choke all day. Come on.
Yeah,
How many? It's been like 3 Darce chokes. Chiesa got caught in, man. Chiesa's a company man. He's going to do everyone a favor and go out there and let Tony tap him out, man. I mean, they brought him over here. The Saudis are paying him some big money, and he's going to do everyone a favor, shooting for a takedown, and Tony's going to cinch it up.
So we got another Bobby Green company man coming in here. So hopefully it's true, man. I mean, I just don't know. It's like, yeah, either Tony's going to pull something out of his ass or Chiesa's just going to fucking wrestle fuck him for 3 rounds. So, but one thing about Chiesa, it's like, even, I mean, I don't know. I don't really want to say this on the show actually. So, but yeah, yeah, so let's just move on to this next fight. Lupi Godinez versus Mackenzie Dern. Yeah,
This
this is a
one
hard
is
fight
one I
for
don't
me.
want to
I
talk
mean,
about. How are you gonna pick this fight?
yeah, it's
I mean,
tough.
I'll be
It's
on Mackenzie Dern just because Lupi shows holes in the grappling, but Lupi's a good wrestler, and Mackenzie Dern is really not a good fighter.
well, just at the line. I mean, I would say it's like a dog or pass. Like whoever's a dog, So I guess I would say Loopy right now. But it's like if Loopy keeps it standing, she's gonna win. But it seems like in all the fights where she should wrestle, she just strikes, and then all the fights where she should fuck it just strike, she'll go for the takedown. So like her last fight, dude, like with Virna, why was she going for a leg lock against Virna Jandiroba? Like
Who knows?
it's like so it's like when you have those type of decisions, it's like you can't really come back from that and pick them again. I don't know. It's like, but this next one, actually, I'll give you guys a free bet already. Which early in the week, I did put a bet on Oleksiejczuk here. So co-main event. I think the line should be like a pick 'em, man, or closer to a pick 'em. I mean, uh, just like you looked at the last card, like we're talking about Leon's fight versus Bilal, or I guess I think a better example would be Giga versus Arnold Allen, where it's someone that's a great kicker that's like decent off the back foot. I think the first round, he might hurt Mihal or something, but Mihal's a tank, man. I mean, the guy's never been knocked out. Usually, when he loses, it's him getting submitted. And I think he's going to be able to pressure and use that southpaw boxing, get in Shara's face and back him up to the fence, put these hand combinations together, land volume. I think he could even mix in takedowns and be the better wrestler in this fight if he really wanted to. And I'm just not sold on Shara yet, man. I feel like he's not the greatest off the back foot. And he doesn't have a grappling threat in this fight. So it's going to be the type of fight that Mihal wants, where it's a stand-up battle. And
But that's the type of fight
Oleksiejczuk,
Shara wants too. At the end of the day.
yeah. But I mean, that's why I think the line should be closer. And Mihal, this is his last fight on his contract, which I kind of factor that in to last week when I picked Jake Hadley, where I like that kind of angle
Back
in
against
the
the wall,
fight
yeah.
where you got a guy that's a good fighter, where he's had great performances. He's beaten certain guys that I think, you could say it's a similar matchup, like when he beat Chidi Njokuani. He got hurt early. That guy's super explosive, great kicker, fucking powerful as shit. And he took that up front and then he knocked him out, So I feel like he could have a similar type of performance here where Shara, I don't think he's been tested against the highest level guys. Even his fight with Bruno Silva, Bruno easily could have won that fight. It was close. I mean, he took him down and controlled him like over half the fight. It was like Shara won that fight with elbows off of his back, which you're not going to win very many fights in the UFC that way. So I just think Mihal is a lot liver than the line kind of indicates here.
I mean, my thing is though, you say that Shara's gonna have success in round one, and but if you look at Michel, he's won one fight outside the first round in the UFC, and even before that, it was all first round or bust pretty much. I don't know. I think
Yeah.
Shara will get it done, but you're making some good points. You're making me hesitant to be confident on Shara, but sometimes I buy into the hype a little too much, and this could be a good, upset watch. But I was never sold on Michel. I picked him, I fade him in almost all his fights, to be honest. So against someone like Shara fighting in Dubai, in the UAE, whatever, I can't pick Michel here.
Yeah, I totally agree. Aussie fight fan. He has a good kicking game, but it's like he has nothing else. I mean, all he has is his kicks. He doesn't have good. His hands aren't even good. So as a striker, it's like when you're a kicker and you got a guy that's a southpaw that's going to be pressuring you the whole fight. And I will kind of push back a little bit. It's like Miao's fights, when he fights striking fights, he doesn't get tired in those fights. You know what I mean? He's usually like getting tired when he's having to wrestle and stuff like that. Like you look at his fight with like Jacoby or like Modestus and these guys, he still like has cardio for 3 rounds. So I don't know. I just think it's gonna play out close. And I think if one person kind of differentiates himself and takes over, I think it could be Mihal. So it's just I would be more confident in him, but I don't know where he's at, like coming off these losses. But Yeah, I kind of favor Mihal in this spot here, but next fight, another really awesome fight right here. I mean, Elvis Brenner versus Joel Alvarez. What do you think about
100%.
this one? Alvarez making his
Sick
comeback
fight.
after a long layoff here.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Joel Alvarez. I always have been. He's let me down a couple of times. Um, but if you look at his losses, they're really, high level, against, Demir Ismagulov, who was on a crazy streak at one point, and Joel was still, younger back then, and against Arman Sarukian, who could be the only guy in the division to beat Islam Makhachev. So no shame there for me in those two UFC losses. Elvis Brenner, on the other hand, kind of a different story. Someone who's known as a hype stealer, In his last fight, it didn't go his way, but he was fighting another absolute beast Orla Block, whatever his name is. And yeah, I'll be on Alvarez here, but it's impossible to count on Brenner as an underdog.
Yeah, I mean, just with the line, I think it's Brenner or
Brenner.
pass. Alvarez, it's hard to. The guy has some great performances, but he just hasn't been active. And I mean, he's been in the UFC for 5 years, and he has like 6 or 7 UFC fights. He just hasn't fought that much. Uh, I feel like he had a lot of momentum, like before he fought Sarukian, and then he got destroyed in that fight. Like it wasn't even close, and then he hasn't fought in like 2 years. So it's hard for me to kind of know where he's at, but with Brenner, he has like the opposite going on because he's fought a lot, like recently, like 3 times in like the last 8 months or something, and all his fights are like fucking car crashes, dude. So it's like maybe he's gonna have like a shit performance, But I feel like Brenner could get takedowns in this one and kind of win that way. Alvarez, like he likes to play jujitsu off his back and try to, get these guard subs, and he has a lot of them, but Brenner training with
That's
like
not the game
shootbox.
plan against Brenner, I think. That's not a
Yeah,
good
shootbox
game
Diego
plan.
Lima. It's like he's probably not gonna be able to do that. But if it's a war on the feet, man, I mean Alvarez is a
You
beast and
gotta
he could
favor
back you
Brenner.
up. Well, I think so too, probably, but
That's just
it's
his
like
type of fight,
Alvarez.
is a war. But I
Yeah,
agree, the pressure of Alvarez needs to pay dividends, and I think he needs to get takedowns, especially
yeah.
to
Because dude,
justify the high line.
he never shoots though. Like Alvarez never shoots takedowns. Usually it's like his game is like he'll pressure you and like try to like beat you up with those elbows and like those big strikes and get you to like panic wrestle and then catch you in a sub, like off his back, which it's worked a lot. And then he's got these like KOs. But yeah, that's another thing. The weight cut scares me. I guess for both of them though. I mean, Alvarez has missed weight like multiple times for 155 and he's huge. Uh, and yeah, I don't remember exactly, but if you're saying it looked like he struggled versus Oral by yeah, I mean, both these guys are probably decently big for 55. I mean, Alvarez is huge for the weight class. So, but yeah, great fight. I feel like the line's a little off. I think Brenner, could be a little bit closer to a pick 'em, but I think this next one, Guram, I think the line's a little wide, but I like him in this fight. I mean, Vucinic is really good though, actually. Like he's clean, he's like super technical, uh, good grappling, but I feel like he is gonna struggle with Guram's jab. And I really like Guram striking. I mean, great pressure. He has one of the best clinch games at the weight class. I feel like his elbows. Um, it's just he doesn't have the greatest chin. I don't think. Like his last fight, he was dominating, kind of got clipped and taken out, and he's been dropped in a couple other fights that are hurt. So I think Kudalati's really good. Like good defensive wrestling too. And I think Vucinic is going to be trying to take him down, and he will be competitive on the feet, but I just think the jab's going to be the difference in the fight, and just kind of like the overall experience here.
Yeah, I'm just not familiar with Vucinic, so I still got to look into it more. But I think that has to be the takedown, unless you're a savage like Elvis Brenner to try to take down Guram. But his takedown defense is really strong, and I think Guram's going to be hungry for a win. It's been a long time since he got his hand raised, and I expect
Yeah.
him to get the job done here.
Yeah. Vucinic, he's like, he used to like, he was a Cage Warriors champ, and like, he's like a decent prospect. Like, he has some hype, but that's why the line is like not like crazy
Close. Yeah,
line.
it's a decent line you can get on Guram. Normally, he's a bigger favorite than this.
Yeah. But yeah, this next one, Alonzo versus uh, Osman Mirzakhanov. What do you think about this one?
think Alonso, if Alonso hadn't just got knocked out 2 months ago, I think he'd be a live dog. But this is such a quick turnaround for him, fighting across the world. I think they're pretty much setting up Asmat here. He's undefeated. He's looked good in my opinion, and this is just too quick of a turnaround for Alonso Menafield in my opinion.
Yeah, I kind
And
of I agree with that. But what were you gonna say, my bad?
no, I mean, I think it's going to be Asmat. I think he'll probably get him out of there. To be honest, I think it's going to be a knockout, and he's a good striker in my opinion. His fight with Dustin Jacoby, who I know Jacoby's not the greatest in the world, but he's really fluid on the feet. And before that fight, I picked Jacoby in that fight. I wasn't sold on him, but the fluidity on the feet for me is really impressive, along with the pressure. And Menafield is going to have physical advantages. He's going to be bigger, stronger. Maybe I don't think he'll be faster though. And I don't think he's going to be able to use the wrestling. So I like Asmat here. I think it's a pretty safe pick, and the line's really not even that wide.
Well, I feel like it's close because if you remember, like when Asmat was fighting Devin Clark, he was like losing the whole fight, getting wrestled, and then he like knocked him out at the end. So I think
I don't
maybe
remember
people
that
think
fight
like,
too well. Yeah, I'll have to
yeah, I
rewatch
think
it.
people maybe think like Alonso could do the same thing, but I feel like Devin Clark is like he's not as good a fighter, but I think he beat Alonso, didn't he? And then he's a better wrestler. Uh, but yeah, I think it's an interesting fight if Alonso can wrestle, but I just think he's gonna struggle to close that distance, and I just don't trust his durability right now, man. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, terrible game plan, but Guram has a rough weight cut and very low body fat percentage. Uh, yeah, yeah, he's not like the most powerful finisher, really, but he's definitely like super skillful. But yeah, I agree. It's like maybe what do you think about uh AMMA? What do you think about him moving up? You think it would be smart? But yeah, this next fight, I don't really know. I can't really give you a great breakdown of this one, honestly. I mean, did you
I'm
look
not
into
going to
this
be
one?
able to help, no, because I don't know
Yeah,
Fernandez almost at all. I mean, I know
yeah,
Muhammad Yahya is really not someone I would pick in many fights at all. Based on the loss of Trevor Peek and his other performances. Why he's
yeah.
getting the fight. He's from UAE. They want a local guy. Maybe this is his opportunity fighting someone like Fernandez, but at a big line like that, I also don't know if you can justify betting on Fernandez.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get back to you on that one because I'm not too sure. But horrible fight in this next one, man. Dontel Mays versus Shamil Gaziev. I mean, Gaziev he basically quit in his last fight with Rosenstruck, which was a 5-round fight. This one, it's like stylistically, you should be able to, pressure and get Mays out of there. Mays usually sucks against pressure fighters, but he has no heart, man. I mean, if Mays could survive, I mean, maybe he could come back, but yeah, I mean, how can you trust Mays either? I mean, this is just like a slot fest fight. So, you think Gassiev will get it done in the first, though? You think that's like a good angle, maybe?
I think that's like the only way he can get it done, to be honest. This fight's out of the first round, I wouldn't be confident in Gaziev at all.
Yeah, it's just I don't know what Mays get. Like, what would Mays' path to victory be?
Decision.
Yeah, I know, but like, how would he get it? Like, kicking on the feet, or like,
I
is he gonna
guess.
take
I
him
mean,
down? I just don't know.
it's
Like, I'm trying to think like how is he gonna get it done? Like
that's
visualize it in
wise.
my
I mean,
head.
how does Dontel Mays ever win a fight?
Yeah, I guess he out wrestles like he had that one. Who was that guy he fought where he was like wrestling the fuck out of him, like, and then he submitted him at the end or something. But I don't know. Mays, I feel like could be good, but he just sucks. Like I don't know what it is. It's like he's tall as shit and he's athletic and he could wrestle sometimes, but yeah, I don't know. And MMA Clips is saying you're the best WMMA better. I don't know if that's verified, but you can go. What do you think about this next fight? Sam Hughes versus Victoria Dudakova here.
Yeah, I don't think Sam Hughes is a very good fighter at all, but Dudakov, in my opinion, is completely unproven. against, I mean, very questionable competition. Jin Yufrey in her day was a good fighter, but towards the latter half of her career, in her UFC stint, she lost a lot of fights. But I don't think the line is too crazy on this one for Dudakova fighting someone like Sam Hughes. Hughes, tough girl, decent wrestler, but I think Dudakova has just some more tools, to be honest.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with that, Tristan. I was just about to say that. I mean, it seems like Dudakova is not like necessarily the most trustworthy fighter, man. I mean,
Yeah, because that
she
was an AC. They pulled out like 30 seconds before the fight.
yeah, and she's pulled out before like multiple times on different fights, and even like that one fight she like said she had staph in her butthole or some shit, like some weird. So it's like I don't know what the fuck she's doing, dude, but hopefully she's good to go for this one, man. I mean, but Dudakova, it's like she looks skilled and really good. But this is actually like a good tester fight because you said Hughes sucks, and I mean I don't think she's that good either, but she has great cardio and she's like one of these like try hard girls that's gonna like push the pace if you get tired. Like she beat who's that jujitsu girl she beat? The Amorim, Jacqueline
Yeah.
Amorim. So it's like she could do that type of thing, but if Sam Hughes wins, it's gonna be more because Dudakova gasses out or Dudakova, has a bad fight. It's not gonna be like because Sam Hughes is like so good. So, but I don't know. I don't think you could bet Dudakova at like almost minus 200 though. Like,
Yeah,
especially
you
with
gotta
like all these
pass.
questions and yeah.
I'm
So
surprised they're letting women fight though in the UAE. I think this is the first one. Pretty
yeah, I mean, there's
groundbreaking.
multiple
They're really,
fights too. I guess they're gonna
they're
have to
really.
fucking go somewhere else during the Dern fight, man. Too much
Oh
temptation.
yeah.
Fuck. No, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, I didn't even know. I guess UAE is different though. I think UAE, it's like they don't give as much of a fuck because I know over there like they like said you don't have to wear burqas anymore and all that stuff. Like so I think they're
But
trying
they
to
don't
like
let Nick Diaz in the country.
yeah, I think they're trying to like kind of like become like whatever the tourist spot. Obviously, like they're fucking doing the whole Riyadh season shit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, UAE way more progressive now. Yeah, I feel like they're like one of those like they're trying. So, but yeah, this will be interesting. Like how people react to the fight, though. I wonder if it'll be like straight up fucking no noise or some shit, like booze or something. But yeah, horrible fight on this next one to me. I mean, I feel like Bedoya looked really bad in his last fight, and it's kind of a shame because I actually was kind of high on him after his chaos fight, and I think his hands are decent, but he just looks so scared to pull the trigger of his song against that power, and I feel like he isn't the most powerful or explosive guy. I like that he's coming down to 55s, but I just think this is a bad stylistic matchup, against a guy that's going to be pressuring, like waiting to counter, that's long and powerful. Bedoya didn't pull the triggers last fight against that style, but Herbert, man, I mean, betting him as a favorite, I would never do that at this point. I mean, he's 36, he's coming off a year layoff. Uh, he's not the most trustworthy guy, so. But I feel like Herbert has to be the favorite, though. Just like looking at it.
I agree. He's too sharp on the feet, and we've seen it. Against strikers, he struggles. But you said it. Herbert's untrustworthy. His chin is untrustworthy. If the fight gets extended, I think he's untrustworthy at this stage of his career. If it's a tough fight, I think he'll fade going into the third round. But on the feet, I think he has a lot more weapons and is going to be a lot more faster, rangier, and skilled.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And I think even in the clinch, and like he's going to be, even though Bedoya is coming down in weight, I think Herbert's still going to be the more physical fighter. So I don't know. We'll see how that plays out, though. I mean, that could be the one maybe potential difference. Like maybe Bedoya will be strong at 55 because Herbert has fought at 45 before, too. So like maybe he'll try to clinch him and take him down and shit, but I kind of doubt it. But last fight, first fight on the card, Cedricus Dumas. He's taking on Dennis Talulin. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they didn't let Nick Diaz in the country, but they let Cedric Dumas. But then I realized Dumas's crimes were against women, so it made sense. But
That's probably
this is
true. Yeah.
this is a fucking shitty fight, dude. Like, come on. Like
Yeah, they set it
Dennis
up before.
Tululin is
They're
absolutely
supposed to fight.
garbage, bro. He's so garbage, and so is Esti Dumas, bro. Dumas sucks. Like he's terrible. This
I
is
think
maybe the
he
worst fight
should.
the UFC could put on, dude.
Dumas is
Outside
good
of
too,
women's
bad,
MMA
though.
and yeah, I think so too. Because Dennis Tululin is like the worst fighter ever, dude. He's 10-10. Esti the Reaper. Oh man,
Don't hate on Dumas.
he's awesome. He beats up his girlfriend, dude. He's
Yeah,
I don't have
Dumas,
much to
like,
say.
both
This
these
is a
guys
terrible
are.
fight. I mean, at
The
least the
striking will be
one thing
fun,
I
though.
can say, at least they have it on the right place on the card, dude, at fucking 7 a.m. This
Yeah.
fight's gonna be going on at like 4 a.m. for you, so at least they did that and had this as the first fight on the card, which you know
That is
they
honestly
did something.
when they first bet or first were scheduled to fight MMA Clips. I actually had that bet like I don't even remember what the price was, but I had that like a Dumas by decision. I think it was like a decently priced prop too. So, but yeah, I feel like Dumas, he's not like a big finisher on top, so maybe you just like grapple fuck him for 3 rounds. But
Not a
yeah,
big
sub
finisher on
eventually
the
too.
fight against Cody Brundage was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life with Dumas on top. It
He
was
got the
so
W.
boring.
That's actually like that's a Cody Brundage isn't like a horrible win. I mean, I
I
think Cody
know.
would
That it
beat
was
he would beat
Cody had a
Tallulah.
really bad performance. Really bad.
Well, fuck Cody Brundage, dude. Like his last fight, that was so pathetic, man. That motherfucker. He literally took money from me with that bullshit. Like he that's like the second time he's done that too, where he like basically quit to try to get the win or whatever. But yeah, man. Full card breakdown. We gave a little recap about the last card UFC 304. Thought that was I actually was excited for that pay per view, but I thought it was a shitty event. So hopefully this one, actually delivers because I am excited about this fight card. We're gonna get Tony Ferguson, title run coming. So yeah, man, I'm ready for it, and appreciate everyone that watched the video, everyone that's gonna watch it back, and we'll be back Friday. We're gonna be doing another betting breakdown. I think I'm gonna have a guest on Friday, so stay tuned in for that. And yeah, man, stay tuned for my other predictions and everything like that. Check out Fitz Magic on TikTok, right? And then Fitz on Instagram too. Hit him up. And besides that, man, we're out.